everybody. Welcome back to the Full Disclosure Podcast. It's your host, Bri,
And A'Nae.
and today we're talking about our worst dating experiences. Boo.
Bad. Like, real bad.
So, we touched on relationships. What was that, 2 episodes ago? So, I think
Yes.
it was only fair that we share our personal past dating relationships and the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, Anae, would you like to kick us off with the first story?
Might as well. Okay. So I've had a few relationships on my belt. And I will say, I feel like I didn't start going on like real dates until like 2 years ago or so. So I feel like my college ones were all terrible, but they weren't real dates. It was like, but I would say my worst possible one was one of my ex-boyfriends. His name was Stefan. I
Like,
dated him back in like 2021 when I moved back home from college, and I might as well explain how we met too because that's kind of important.
yeah.
So, me and my mom went to a Jamaican restaurant
Yeah, mom.
and very delicious. But this boy was a waiter there at the Jamaican restaurant.
Okay, I did not know this story. First time for me too, everybody.
So I saw him there and I was like, wait, he's kind of cute. But it was just a quick glance, cute type of thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
thought he was handsome. My mom thought he was cute too. I was like, okay,
Oh,
girl, hold on. Sharon said. But so I was like, you know what? Whatever, he's cute. And my mom was like, oh, he was kind of flirting with you. But whatever, we went home
why do moms do that?
nonetheless. It like, it don't make no sense.
My
I
mom
was like,
did.
girl,
My mom did the same thing. I'll share.
right. I'm like, I did not need to know that. Like, I don't. And at the time, I was dating, or no, I had just broken up with Gabe. That was like around that same time. So me and Gabe were still talking,
Yeah.
but we were not together. So I followed the Instagram page of the restaurant because I really loved it. Like my parents, we love Jamaican food, and in our area that we live in, there's not a lot. So I followed the Instagram page.
Okay.
This boy,
Don't tell me he found you
he,
through the Instagram page.
the same day.
That's kind of cute.
It's kind of cute, but I was like, sir, what are we doing? But you know what? Nonetheless, I was like, okay, he's kind of cute, whatever. So we
Okay.
followed each other, and his Snapchat was in his bio. So I followed him on Snapchat because I was like, okay, you followed me here, so
Might
I
as well. Yeah.
might as well. This is where it all started to go downhill. Okay,
Oh God.
this boy, oh god, can we make this into our worst relationship rather than
I
worst
mean,
date?
at this
Because
point, yeah. Let's get into it.
okay, we're about to spill some tea here because that'll make this even more juicy. So, this is why Brianna never knew about this boy because, okay, so when I started talking to him, right, he seemed really cool. He seemed really put together. The restaurant was his family's restaurant. So I was like, okay,
Oh,
maybe some generational wealth going on.
all right.
No, no. He was like a deadbeat boy. Like, all he did was like smoke all day. He like lived on his best friend's couch. And I didn't find this out for like weeks. So we would always FaceTime at night. And I was like, why is he not going home? Like, it'll be like 3 a.m.
Annoying.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, why are you still at your friend's house? But I would never ask because I was a little dumb and naive back then, whatever. So he finally asked me out on a first date, right? So I wanted to go to the movies. I was like, oh, I want to see this movie. Can't remember what the name was. So he
Okay.
had to work all day. And so the movie was at like 9:30 or something. He was gonna come pick me up, but my dad said no. My dad was like, no, he's not picking you up. You're driving there and he's driving there and y'all are driving separate in case I need to leave and go home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, smart. I was upset about it, but I was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Wait,
drive. I
Tony,
get
your dad
Tony
said
did
that.
not drive me. My dad said that. Yes, my
Okay.
dad.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So Tony was like, y'all are not driving together. Y'all are driving separate. And this is like the
Huh?
first real guy that he saw me like go on a date with. So I think my dad was just really skeptical.
Oh,
And right, so I get to the movie theater at 9 o'clock. I'm waiting and waiting and
there's
waiting.
no way. There's no way.
So the movie started at 9:30, mind you. They closed the doors of the movie theater at like 10 o'clock because that's when the whole building closes, right? So I got there at like 9:20 maybe. 9:45 pulls up and I'm like, hey, where are you? He's like, I'm on my way. Like I left work a little bit late. My parents, blah blah blah. I was like, okay. It's like 10:05 when
I
he
can't
gets there.
stand that. Man! Ugh.
When I tell you, I was so irritated, but my anxiety was ruffling up because I was like, that was my first time like meeting him in person since
Yeah.
I saw him at the place, right? So he gets there and I'm like, okay, whatever. Hey, hi. We go inside the movie theater and the doors are locked. We can't get in because he was
Shut
late.
up.
Dead serious. So of course, what do? My dumb, how old was I? 20-year-old self, naive, is like, okay, we can just sit in your car. I didn't say, okay, let's go to
No
get
worries, babe.
food. Like, no, literally, I was like, no worries. Let's just sit here.
No.
My dumb ass. We
Anaya.
sat there for literally like 2 hours just talking. It was
Was it a
fine,
good
but like,
conversation at least?
I, I mean, good enough to keep me there because I dated him for months after. So I remember that night ended, and I was like, you know what? I'm really upset, right? That was my first streak
First
of like, okay,
impression. Like what?
first impression.
And was he texting you before, like, can to be like, hey, I'm gonna be late to tonight. Just,
Yes,
was he texting that?
he was, but in my head, it wasn't 30 minutes late. It was more like 10. So when he
Right,
came
how
30
you met
minutes,
him.
I was like, and he lived farther than me, I get that, but like, don't make that plan then.
Right.
Change, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
And so it gets worse from there.
Oh boy.
Every date from then on was me going over to his friend's apartment where he slept on that couch and just hanging out with him. Like, that was our dates. I
And
don't
you
know
had to
what
drive
possessed me.
there.
I drove. I. He didn't have a car. He did not have a car. So
How old was
he.
he again? Just asking.
He was 27. And the worst part is,
Anae Sierra Smith.
Brianna, when I tell you you're
What do
going
you mean
to
he was
beat
27
my
with no car?
ass, that's
What
not
do
the
you
worst
mean
part.
Go on.
That's not even the worst part.
Go on.
After all of these dates, I was madly in love with him. Brianna, when I tell you, like, we were literally on the basis where I was saying I love you and he was saying I love you. Why? Why? Embarrassment. Let me embarrass myself right now. That's what we were doing. Mind you, our dates consisted of me going over to his. No, girl, I don't know what was wrong with me. So,
This is when
I,
I was a lot busier. We weren't talking at
yeah, we
probably
were
around
not
like
talking at this time.
yep.
We were not talking at this time. And so this is where the Delulu came.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to change. I thought he was going to get a car. I thought he was going to get a better job. But he just gave dusty. And he started to get dusty. So, like, I started to get the ick every time I saw him.
Okay.
So, I started to distance myself a little bit. Then one night, he told me that he has kids. So, wait a freaking minute. Mind you, this is like a month in to us dating. And I'm like hooked by the grip at this
I have a
point.
tear.
So he
Okay.
tells me that he has kids, right? But the thing is, he was
Kids.
dating this kids. So he was dating this girl before me. And oh god, there's more. Oh god. He was dating this girl before me. And I guess they were dating for like 4 years or something. And she had kids. So it's not his blood kids, but he was raising the kids, so he calls them his kids. Those are your kids then. Those are your kids.
If you want them so bad.
If
If you
you
want to be
if
stepdad.
you're calling
To a
those your
woman that's not
kids,
your wife.
to a woman that's not your wife and to a woman that you're not with anymore, it was so weird. And I think it made it worse that those aren't his actual birth kids. Like, you didn't give birth to those kids. So that's what made it more weird for me. I'm like, okay, so you're going to go take care of these kids with a woman that's not your wife, and those are not your real kids. Like, he would literally go see them every single Sunday. Mind you, that was his only day off and my only day
And he
off.
spent it.
He spent it with those kids. And I was like, dude, can you, like, come spend a day with me? Like, we don't go
He
on real
might as well
dates.
be a foster dad. Like, I mean,
That's what I'm
that's what it's giving.
saying. It's giving you need a house for some kids that aren't yours. Like,
I'm
and
so
Brianna, you're
confused.
gonna beat me up so
Oh
much worse after I tell you the rest.
God.
That's
Okay.
not the worst part. Before this happened, that I found out about this lady, when I had first started dating him, I went on his Instagram page and I was scrolling, and his ex girlfriend was there. Not the same ex with the kids, a different ex. And
Mm-hmm.
my dumbass still stayed. No
Did
clue
you
why.
question it?
I did question him and I was like, hey, why is this girl on your page? Like, I don't understand. So he finally deleted them, like, deleted all the pictures or whatever. But every time I looked at his page, like, I think back and I'm like, I had the ick every single time and I still gave this man a chance for
Mm-mm.
no reason. That's
None.
not the worst part. So after I found out that he had these kids, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance. Like, I want to make this work. I feel like you can be a better person. You're Jamaican, just like my dad, so like we have something. You know, I was trying my bestest. I didn't think it could get worse. So time went by, and he like was never planning dates. He was always calling me really, really late. He like it
Hell
was
no.
I know. It was really irritating. But at the time, I was clearly content. Clearly.
I don't know why, and
I don't know why. I don't. So now December comes around and it's like Christmas time. And he
don't tell me you
buys
got him
these. Oh, hell no.
okay.
Girl. So this is around the time that we break up. December is when we broke up.
Okay.
So, but before we broke up or
Of
before I even had
2021 or 2022?
2021, we did not last a year.
Okay. Okay.
No way. Girl, we lasted literally. We met in July and broke up by December. Like, it was
Okay.
very short lived.
Damn.
But a lot
Good.
of emotions, you know? So, he, around that time, he ended up buying the kids like a PS5 or a PS4 or something. Mind you, he was always saying he's
He
strapped for
can
cash.
afford his own spot, but he can afford a PS5 for kids that aren't his.
Thank you. A PS5. So I'm sitting here mad. I'm like, you spent every Sunday with them and you're buying them PS5s. I've never gotten a gift. I've
That's so
never
laughable. That's so gaggable.
laughable.
Yeah.
So I was irritated, right? So I'm gonna scroll back a little bit to October.
Okay.
October's Halloween, my favorite month of the year. I love, you know, those little spooky baskets and stuff. You know, just
Yeah.
real cute.
Super cute.
So he got me a spooky basket because I forced him to. I literally begged. I was like, please, like, this is all I freaking want. So he got me like a Victoria's Secret robe with like a little cat paw on the wrist. He got me like a couple of pictures. He got me a picture of Pebbles. It was cute.
Okay, that's cute.
Super cute, whatever. Of course, 1 week later, he tells me another set of really big news. So I'm on the phone with him at night, and he's like, I have
My
something to
heart's
tell you.
racing, A'Nae.
Brianna, you're you're not
My
ready.
heart's racing.
He was like, I have something important to tell you. I've been holding off because, you know, I know we've been going through a lot lately and da 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 da. It's been 3 months, dude. We're not gonna die. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or so I thought. So he's like, I don't know how you're gonna act. I don't know how you're gonna react. Blah blah blah.
Don't
He's
tell
like,
me
I'm trying
somebody's
to.
pregnant.
No, not yet, at least. So he told me that he was trying to get a house, right? Like, so he could not live on his friend's couch, whatever. So he told me about this house that he was getting. I was under the impression that he was gonna move in alone, obviously because I'm not moving with you, and you don't live with your family.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna have a roommate. I was like, who's this roommate? What do you mean?
I
He's like,
already
I
know
never
where this
told
is
you.
going.
No, you don't. You don't.
It's them kids,
He's,
huh?
nope. Nope. He told me that when he met me, he didn't want to tell me this set of information because he knew I would not date him. And he didn't know how to tell me. He was married.
I'm about to close my laptop. I'm about to shut my laptop. A'Nae.
He was
A'Nae.
married. He said, I've been married for a year. So I was like, um. I started bawling my eyes out. Bawling. I was like, what do you mean you're married? Like, what does that mean? I don't know what that is.
3 months in.
He's 3 months in. He waited. And I was like, what do you mean you're married? You can't be married. He's like, this girl, it was an arranged marriage because she needed her papers. I was like, what? What? He's like, she has to move in with us because when you get your papers and you get married, you get interviewed randomly all the time because they want to make sure you're actually married and you're not just getting married for your papers. So I was like, so this girl that you're married to is going to be living with you? And he said, yes. I said, so what are you expecting me to do right now? You want me to stay like a dummy? That was my last straw, Brianna.
A'Nae.
When I tell you my last straw,
That man.
did I leave him though?
And your dumb ass should have got popped for that. And your dumb ass should have got popped for that.
I didn't
A'Nae,
leave him. I didn't leave.
what possessed you?
There's really nothing that could have possessed me that would have made me stay. That was the work of God right there. He said, stay so we can see how dumb you are and learn your lesson. I stayed for at least another month, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, because this was around Halloween time. I remember I stayed with him. And then it was around like the Christmas time that he bought that thing for the kids, and I was like, this is my last straw. Mind you, I brought this up to him like every single day. The
And
marriage
the
thing.
PS5
Like, every
was
day.
the last straw, not the marriage. Y'all, we give advice because we've been through things, okay? But damn. Okay.
So I stayed, I stayed, and it got closer to the time that she was gonna move in, and I was like, I can't,
You can't.
I can't, because I was like, how is this gonna work? When I go over there, I have to look this girl in her face and be like, hey, we're sharing a man.
Because
No.
there's so many things. Okay,
Yes.
hold on. There's the wife.
Right.
Hello. There's the woman that has the kids that he's raising. That's not his wife. Hello.
Correct.
There was the ex-girlfriend that wasn't the one with the kids, but she was still on his page, like they were together.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 3 bitches that were just on the sideline right there while you were with this man.
Plus, he had no car. Plus, he had no
Plus,
money.
he had no.
Plus, we never really went on a real date. Yeah.
Did he just?
We never
It-
did. Hey. Can we applaud that?
I don't even know if we can applaud that because I don't even know what you stayed for at this point. And I was gonna say it. Maybe he was just doing his thing. Maybe he was just.
Nope. Nope.
Was it the companionship?
At the time, yes. I look back and I'm like, it literally was because I did not want to be alone. I wasn't talking to you at the
Damn,
time. Me and Gabe had just broke up. But
bitch.
yeah, I was
I'll
feeling
take
real
blame
lonesome.
because why the fuck weren't we? Okay, fuck.
No, girl, I don't know what happened, but we were
Oh, that was my
busy, I guess.
transitional period from Florida to Chicago, I think.
That was,
Yeah.
yes. So I look, I don't know why I regret. That's like the most relationship that I regret. It made no sense. I wasted a lot of time. I never really liked him. When I look back at it, I'm like, he gave me the ick a lot of the times. Like every time he spoke, it made me like ill. Every
Cringe.
single time. So I
Damn.
don't know why. I don't
That's
know
called
why.
discernment, anyone.
That
That's
yeah,
discernment.
my discernment was up here, but my accountability was
But
down
you
here.
listening to it?
Yeah, I turned a blind eye.
Uh,
Yeah, that was a moment to learn from. I will never do that again. I vow to
that's so
never date
many.
men with
There,
kids.
there's so many
Yeah,
bombs he just threw at you in such a short period. I mean, at least he said it versus not saying it, and it was like a year later.
I
However,
would have rathered him not say it because I was gonna break up
I
with
feel
him
like he
anyways.
shouldn't date if he's going through a situation like that. Like,
That's what I
we
told
know the
him.
papers process, like, okay, but like you shouldn't
Yes,
date and put another woman through that while you're
yes.
figuring shit out. Like, who does that?
I told him, and his response was, "But you wouldn't have dated me if I told you." And I'm like, exactly,
No.
exactly. And
Yeah,
to
like
this
what's the
day,
point?
he'll still like look at my story. He'll still like follow me, and then unfollow me,
They
and then
all
follow me
do.
again. I'm like, sir.
Like you're begging for attention at this point.
And I never follow him back ever, ever. And I'm like,
Good.
what are we doing?
That's oh,
But lesson learned from this one, and there was so much more wrong, but like, that's just enough for me to embarrass myself right now.
and obviously in the beginning nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Like
Yeah, I
you
had
were
no clue.
the only red flag at that point was the fact that he was a like late show to the movies, which is a
Yeah,
pretty big red
that's a
flag.
pretty big thing.
I hate men that
Yeah,
make me wait on them.
me too. Now I do.
That's an ick. But at that point, like that was the only red flag, and then
Right.
he just was doing this with red flags.
He was
To you.
throwing them, and I was only 20, so
You were
like,
catching.
I I did more than catch. I was playing rugby with those flags.
You
Like,
were.
I was not. I was a team player. That
Honestly.
was terrible. And that was like my fourth real relationship. So I'm like, after all of these, I've never dealt with this before. So I was like, is this
Right.
normal? Like, what is going on?
No.
My first three relationships were never like that. Like, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
They didn't last, but like, they were not bad. Like, I was not
They
getting
weren't
lied
married.
to.
They,
They weren't.
yeah.
There was no marriage. There was no kids. They had problems, but they were not like that. And I'm like, this is not.
Different levels.
This is crazy. Mm.
Damn.
Yeah,
Are
so
you open to dating again at this stage?
um, well, after my last breakup, I don't know.
Damn. How long ago? Okay,
Honestly,
how long ago was it since you've been on a date?
September.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, me and
I
my
kind
ex
of
broke
love
up
that
in what,
because
June? And September I went on a date. Yeah.
because it gives I'm okay being alone if
Oh yeah.
condition calls for it, and
Yes.
the guy will come to me.
Yes.
I
That date
love
was
it.
terrible. The date
It was
was
terrible.
terrible. That's like gonna be my second story. So after you tell yours, I'm gonna tell another one because Lord.
Wait, should I tell the relationship story or the date story?
Just tell it both all in one.
Damn it. Well, they're separate
Yeah.
people.
Ooh. Which one's worse?
The relationship.
Is it who I know it is?
No.
Oh my
Well,
god. Okay.
you might
Okay,
want
tell
to
that
bleep the
one.
name out.
Tell that one.
Maybe
I'm
looking
ready.
around sometimes. Okay.
For real.
So this was when I was first entering college. So I was at the University of the Bahamas for my first 2 years of college.
Okay.
So I was like 18, 19. I was a little youngin. So I've only been at that point, I think, in two relationships. So I was like, okay, I'm here to study, but I'm also looking around. I'm looking around. So it was this first day in class. I sat next to this guy, and we'll just call him T.
Wait, what's his name though? I'll believe it out.
Well, this was before. You don't. Yeah. Okay. So you'll find out. So anyway, I sit next to him in class, and we do like an orientation. The teacher asks everybody's name, and then we just start talking. I don't know how the
Mhm.
conversation started. I think he started it. But we just started talking. At some point after class, we exchanged socials. That was that.
Period.
Let's fast forward a little bit. We're getting to know each other, seeing each other more around campus. So it was cool. I thought he was cool. I was like, okay, I like your energy. Like, this is fine. So we start hanging out now. So now it's like, okay, he drives me home sometimes because he
Okay.
drives me home sometimes. So, because I live very close to the school, so he would drive me home sometimes. Sometimes we would have little dates at the beach. Now that I'm thinking about it, we never really had a date. We would just like hang out all
Right.
the time because we were on
Right.
campus all the time.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I'm starting to like him. Now I'm like, okay, people are starting to know us as like the couple.
Stop.
Yeah, like it was starting to get to that level. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, no worries. Like this is
That's
fine. Like I
cute.
like him. It's cute. So this is when I had one of my close friends at the time. Her name was Devanya. Shouts out to Devanya.
Period. Shout out
She
to
pulled
her.
me. She pulled me to the side. She's like, Brianna, can I talk to you for a second? I was like, yeah, sure, of course, no problem. I'm like, what's up? She was like, what we say at home is like, you and Tyler's go. She's like, you and
Mhm.
like, do y'all date? Like, are y'all
Right.
together? I was like, well, not officially, but we've been like getting closer. Like we definitely like we talk, like we were getting to know each other like very closely.
Right.
And so she was like, well, do you know he has a girlfriend? Hmm?
No. What?
What do you mean he
With
has
you
a
in his car?
What do you mean he has a girlfriend? She's like, well, I just heard from someone that I know that he was dating something like he had a girlfriend. I was like, are you sure? Like,
Like,
Tyler.
are
I'll
you
just put it
sure?
in bracket. I was like, Tyler. She was like,
Right.
yeah. I was like, okay, let me check in with him. One moment. I was like, let me check with him real quick and let me
Stop.
get to the bottom of this. I was like, thank you for telling me. Like, let me figure this
Right.
out. So boom. Later that day, I like reach out to him. I was like, hey, I just heard from Devanya that you have a girlfriend. Like, what is this about? He was like, oh, well, you see, I like recently broke up with this girl and she thinks we're still together. Like, she still thinks we're a thing, but we're not.
Mm-mm.
We're not a thing. So sometimes she like tells people like we're not a thing, like we're not dating. That was his side of the story. He was like, I can assure you, like we're not dating, like
Okay. Okay.
we
Okay.
broke up. I was like, okay, like how long were y'all dating? Like I was just getting the backstory on it. I was like,
Right.
they dated for a while he was in high school. Like at a certain point, they like stayed by each other like for a while. I was like, oh, that was pretty
Oh.
serious.
Right. Y'all were almost
Okay?
married. Hello.
But at my experience level at that stage, I was like, okay, I will take your word.
Right.
I'll take your word. We'll see. Boy, did I see. So,
Stop.
so boom. Okay, so now fast forward, we're still getting to know each other, still like things are still progressing. Like now I'm like really
Right.
into him, like
Oh God.
really into him. And so we eventually like I meet some of his friends, he meets some of my friends. So eventually we like
Right.
plan a night out. So we're out. There's only a couple spots that we hang out back home. So
Right.
there's this bar called Mama's. So we were all at Mama's. His one of his best friends was there, and I was hanging out with her. So we were like getting drinks. He was around somewhere, and so it was like the night started off slow. We were like getting
Right.
drinks, things like that. Obviously, I'm taking shots, giving shots, whatever.
Of course.
Then I see from the corner of my eye, she walks in. Because obviously I know what she looks like at that point. Like
Right.
I did my
You
research.
did your
I see,
investigation.
I see that she walks in and she like goes up to him and I guess pulls him outside. So I like half notice it out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, that's weird.
Right.
I'm like, hold on, let me take this shot. I was like, come on, like let's go for a walk. I brought his best friend with me. I was like, let's go for a walk. So we
Don't.
walk outside the bar. At this point, I am a little tipsy.
Mhm.
So we walk
Mhm.
outside the bar and I we like had to walk like a couple steps away or like a couple
Right.
walks away to find out where they were and they were like very close to each other talking. And so I start freaking out. I'm like, what the
Oh
fuck is this? Like,
my
okay, at this point
God.
I start going off because I'm a little intoxicated and
As you
I
should.
was already upset about this situation and I was just waiting for this moment.
As
So
you
I
should.
start cussing her out. I'm like, what the fuck
Oh
is
my
this? Like,
God.
what's going on? Like, his friend at one
Right.
point was just like holding me because I start like throwing my hands and I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Over it got embarrassing. But like at that point, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, y'all,
Right.
I'm like, leave him alone. Like, ugh,
I'm
low,
screaming.
lowest point. But I like caused a whole commotion. I get pulled to the side, so she eventually guided me like to the parking lot, and I'm like
Mhm.
crying, screaming, like bawling. I was so upset. So
Oh my
eventually, like I'm
God.
sitting on the curb, just like crying with her. His
Right.
dumbass shows up, and at this point, I don't remember all of the details because I started to
Right.
get like that level of intoxicated.
Right.
I just remember I was back in his car with his best friend and he drove me home. So the next day, like I felt I was so like I fell asleep in my clothes that I went out in. My parents were like,
This is
"What the fuck?"
usual. This is
As you,
usual.
yeah. I was like, and I remembered everything. I remembered how I felt that night. So like the next day
Mhm.
we had the conversation and I was just like, okay, I we can't do like I can't like my
Right.
emotional capacity is like at here like I we can't be a thing anymore like
Right.
you should have been more honest with where your relationship was at and
Mhm.
so at that point I ended things with him but I felt like I still didn't have the full story
Yeah.
so I worked at like our Port Lucaya it was called, like at our
Right.
like touristy place, and I knew
Right.
she did some of the tour guides, so I knew like every now and again she would like show up in the area. So
Right.
there was one day after I had the conversation with him where I saw her, and I was just like, "Hey, can we talk?"
She said, "Hey,
Because at that
girly."
point I was just over it. I had no shame for nothing. I just needed like I felt
Good.
like I wanted the truth. I was like,
Right.
okay. At some like at one point, like Tyler told me like y'all were broken up. Like, what was the
Right.
real tea behind that? She was like, no, they never broke up. She was like, they like that night before that incident at the bar, he stayed by
Right.
her for a couple
Please.
days. For a couple days. And um yeah, it was like she was just like
No.
yeah, and she has nothing to lose for the conversation. So I'm obviously taking her word. I'm like,
Right.
got it.
This
Okay.
is why you need to put an
Well,
Apple AirTag on your men.
this is
Cause
why,
no.
girl, this is when my trust issues started. I already had trust issues, but this is when it
Same.
escalated. Um,
Yes.
so after I got the truth tea from her, that's when I like went off on him, like through text. I didn't want to even speak to him anymore.
Period.
I wasn't speaking to him.
Right.
Went off on him on text. And that was like the end of that. Like that relationship scarred me for like a solid year. Because
I'm
I was so
so
pure heart. I was so innocent. Like at that point I was
I
like,
hate that.
because when you start like looking up like kids photos and it's like this is what our kids are gonna look like literally at that point, yes, and
No.
at that level, I'm dead ass.
Please.
I'm dead ass.
I did
So
that too, I'm not gonna lie.
anyway,
So
no, literally. So that
girl.
was my worst relationship, I would
No,
say.
that's bad actually.
That was bad. Yeah.
So we
It
were
was
both the other woman.
at one point. Isn't that the story of unfortunately most women that are dating? Is sometimes you find yourself as the other
Yes.
woman and you don't even know.
You don't know.
It's too late.
And some people never know.
And some
Talk
people
about
never
that.
know.
Yeah.
That's the guy, yeah.
That's why my trust for men is like in the gutter. Like in hell.
It's hard.
Down below. Like
Yeah.
my trust for men is in Australia. Like it's gone. Down
Not
below.
down under.
Literally down under.
Yeah,
She's
that was something
done.
that I had to work through hard with John. Like that
Right.
when you're actually in a healthy relationship, those trust issues still come out like
Oh yeah.
a lot, and it takes a lot to
Yeah.
grow. Like it takes a lot,
It takes
and
a
they just
lot
give you
because
patience.
right. And I think that like my trust for men will always be like that. And it's always like that until you meet that one that changes your mind.
Yeah,
So me, every time a man talks to me, I'm like, no, you're lying. You're lying. You're
yeah.
lying.
But
Like,
you'll know based on how they are with hard conversation. If it with
absolutely.
hard conversations, if men are able to have hard conversations with you and be honest. At a certain point of me and John's relationship, I was like, okay, you didn't have to tell me all of that. Like you're being too
I'm
honest. Like this is all like,
screaming.
but like
That's
for
true.
me, that reassured me because it's like he will tell me everything. Like I know he's gonna tell
Right.
me everything. Like
Yeah.
even shit. Like you don't have to tell me this. Like,
No.
but okay.
I'm screaming. But that's
But they
such a
should,
good thing.
yeah. But they should also be okay with the fact that I might check your phone.
No. And we must be
I
okay with that.
I will. I might check your phone every now and again, and he
Every
knows that.
relationship, I need the location. Like, we need to share locations. We're not living unless we share locations. And I don't play. Like, at all. Thank you. Period. Oh, the little teddy bears.
Because he's like a little
Stop.
panda. He,
I'm screaming. Every ex I've had, like, especially the most recent ones, I've always had their location because, like, I just don't trust people. I don't.
it's safety, but it's also where are you? It
No,
starts off.
where
It
are
starts off
you?
like where are you? But like once you're at
Right.
that point where okay,
Yeah,
I know you're not going anywhere. It's more of a safety thing.
exactly.
Like
Literally,
okay,
because I'm like, okay, I want to make sure you make it home.
exactly.
Like, that was my thing with my ex. Like, I just wanted to make sure you make it home. And he never cared, though. He always was fine with sharing his location, thank God.
Oh,
Like, the
good.
relationship before that made it an issue. I was like, okay, no.
That's
Literally,
Red flag, red flag.
Sketch.
If he has an
Little
issue
red
with sharing
flags.
his location with you, that's a red flag, like fuck.
Very much.
Sorry.
So I'm like, that's my thing. Like, I need there to be trust and honesty, and I don't want to be scared to ask you for your location because you don't want to give it to me. You're done already.
No,
You're literally
exactly.
done.
Like you should
And
be open.
exactly, I'm happy that you found your fiance because the dating pool right now,
I think about that sometimes, you know. I'm like, I wonder what the dating pool looks like
you
in
don't wonder. You don't
2024.
want to know.
Because
You
I
don't.
know what it looked like back then.
It's worse. Times 10.
Oh,
Actually,
I
times it
know
by a
the word.
million.
Damn.
Times it by a million. These men, Brianna, I have the app still, right? They want you to like put in a million just to get back 1%. This one guy, because it was on Bumble and like you have to talk
It's
first. The
giving
woman has to talk
princess
first.
treatment. With
Princess
these
treatment.
girls.
I said, "Hey, how are you?" He said, "That's all you got." I was like,
Ew.
"Is this American Idol?"
I would have. Ew.
I've never unmatched someone so quickly.
Not that's all you got. As
I
if
was like,
you're the
"Excuse."
catch. As if you're the catch.
Like, sir, you're supposed to sit here and get me to stay.
And beg on
I
your knees
already got,
immediately.
literally, I already got everything I need. This is a plus. What are we doing?
I'm
I was so
dead.
shook. That was the first time that ever happened
Ew.
to me, and I was like, mind you, this was last year. The guys on there, they just want princess treatment. They want you to like
What's up with men wanting to
beg
be
for them to
women?
talk. And they want you to like be so engaged in the conversation when they're not even asking anything. I'm
Like,
like, why am I asking you all the questions?
when did the roles switch? Like,
Two
when
years
did
ago.
men think they were the prey and we're the predators?
2 years ago. I swear, that's when I saw the switch. COVID? Mm-mm. COVID did it. I'll be honest.
Like, at this point,
At this point, it's not worth it. I'm not begging.
I'll be honest. Personally, for you, you're gonna have to find your man in the church. I
Brianna,
said
bye.
it. I said it.
Bye. I'm
And I'm
sorry.
dead ass. I'm dead
I
serious.
can't. Do you
Are
want
you
to know
kidding
why I
me?
can't? No, I'm dead serious. I can't.
You have to.
I can't.
You have
Brianna,
to.
I don't go to
And
church, I'll
hey,
be honest. Look,
that's
I
fine.
love God. Look, me and God, we bless up every night, okay? Don't get me wrong. I do not like churches. This is a debate that
And
I
that's
can
okay.
have.
Well, not uh he doesn't have to necessarily be a man that goes to church, but
Okay,
a
yeah. Okay.
man. You get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
A
Like
God-loving man.
he has morals because you know he follows God.
Okay. Okay.
I feel
That
like
I
what's
can work with.
happening. Okay. I feel like what's happening
Yeah.
is a lot of men don't give a fuck because they don't
Don't.
have morals because they don't have fear. They don't have the fear of God. They're
Yeah,
like,
they
I can
don't.
cheat on this woman and have no regrets. I can be emotionless and it's okay.
And it's not okay.
And it's not okay.
This one guy on Hinge, his bio said, um, sorry. Excuse me.
Bless
Bless
you.
you. Thanks.
You see the TikTok where the bitch is just like, ah, she's
I,
broke. It's like, excuse me.
this guy's Hinge bio thing was like, let's talk about why women deserve less rights. And I was like, why would you say that? Like, this is Hinge. Like, we're trying to find our person, right? Why, as a man, would you put that on your Hinge if you're looking for a girl?
Like, are you on the right app? Like, go on Grinder.
Are you gay?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
At this
my
point,
thing is,
send all the men to Grinder. Like,
I'm telling you,
because y'all love each
all
other so
secrets.
much.
All
And y'all
secrets.
hate women so much. Just,
Yes. When I tell you, okay, so with my ex, I'm gonna spill a little bit of tea about him. I love him, whatever. But the one thing that irritated me with this man, he would do anything for his friends, for his homeboys. Like, I was starting to think.
how, what do you mean anything?
No, like as soon as his friends would text and be like, "Hey, come out, we're gonna go out, whatever," he would go,
That
like
man's
no
up.
questions asked. Like he would levitate out of his seat, basically.
Because those hoes are paying for his lifestyle, probably.
No,
Because he's
literally,
on their
and let
couch.
me ask him. Let me.
He said you have to pay a little bit more for that. Like he's
He's like, I
subscription.
need a little more of a reason.
Yeah.
I. That's one thing. Like, I feel like a lot
Ew.
of men are just gay for their friends. Like, it really. He's not gay. I get it, but like, that's just a little jokey joke. But like, it
I
never
mean,
made sense unless.
unless
If
let's
you're
get
watching, I'm just kidding. But
allegedly.
allegedly, and I think a lot of guys are like that. It's just weird.
It is weird.
Like they'll do anything for their friends, but when it comes to like their girlfriend, they won't do anything for them. And I'm like,
Make it
okay.
make sense. Do you want me as your wife or not?
That's what I'm saying. Like, are you gonna marry them? Might as well.
At this
Might as
point,
well. At this
damn.
point, literally. Yeah.
Good luck out there. For those of you in the dating pool, out there dating, good luck. Because
I just don't know what to do anymore.
find them in the church. Find them in the church. Just my
But what if
advice.
someone's not into the church? What do they do?
Just make sure that they are connected to God and have a moral
Okay.
standard with God and
I feel
have
like
a
at this
relationship with
point, that's
God.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
because if they don't, they have nothing to lose. They fear
To be
nothing. They don't
honest.
give a fuck about you. I promise
Yeah.
you.
I
And
honestly,
mind
really and
you, some
truly,
men that claim to have a relationship with God don't. So you have to vet those ones out too. But at least you have some sort of moral grounding. And that's all I can say on that. Because marriage
yeah,
isn't
that
cute all
was
the
my ex
time.
low key. My ex would
Really?
say he had a relationship with God, but like he was not doing his godly duty.
Right?
He
Like,
would always be like, "Oh, let's pray like every night," and like he wouldn't be on his Zoom call ready to pray. I'm like, "I'm here. I'm ready. What are
so
we
he was
doing?"
just saying not to say it.
Just saying it to say it, and I'm like, "Dude, God's watching us right now. We should be
No,
praying in this
literally.
very second. Like, what are we doing?" And
Why
me,
did
I'm
he
not a
say?
church person. Don't get me wrong. I don't be up in the churches,
Yeah,
but my relationship with God is trying to be here. Like we're trying to be on 10. And
exactly.
I don't like lying. Like let's not say we're going to do it and don't cuz that's
Especially
even worse.
yeah.
That's worse. Now we're lying to him.
Right.
Now he's about to strike us down.
Now, right. Now I'm worried.
Like
What the
now we're
fuck?
not getting led into heaven. Like I don't have time to
And
play.
it's his
That's why we have to
fault.
separate. Like I can't. I can't. Yeah,
Mm.
it wasn't doing it. So
Ugh.
I don't know. There's like no way to avoid terrible men. You just have to like weed them out once you're there. So,
The vetting process needs to be long. It needs to be thorough.
yes.
It should last several years. And then that's when you know. Ask the questions. Ask the hard questions up front. Please, don't be afraid. Ask the hard
Please
questions.
don't wait. Yep,
Don't
don't wait.
wait. If you're suspicious about something, ask them, who's this? And pull up the photo. Who's this?
Bring the receipts,
If they
please.
follow a bunch of random naked women, who are these? Why do you do that? What's the purpose? And if they deflect, if they avoid, just don't even
Oh,
bother.
Lord. That just
Don't even
brought back like
bother.
war flashbacks in my head.
No, it's so true though. Don't
Oh
bother.
my
Bring
God.
everything up. Bring everything up.
Because let's remember, guys, we have nothing to lose. We're
Correct.
not the ones doing this,
But
okay?
we do have a lot to lose if that man gets us pregnant
Exactly.
before
Or
we get out.
married.
At least if
Yes.
we're pregnant and we're married and we're divorced, you get some sort of
Right.
whatever. But when you have no sense of security or nothing,
And he can just up and leave you with that baby in you. No, girl.
yeah. And
Mm-mm.
who wants to do that? Who wants to do
Not a
that?
body. Not a
Mm-mm.
body. Yeah,
And
so
you
from
also
our
carry
two.
your kid in A though.
Uh,
Just saying.
honestly, I literally told my mom, I was like, if I have a kid, I'll be fine if, like, there's no man. I really. But I want to raise my kid
But
in, like, a two
parent household.
parent household. Like, that's what I want. So
Yeah.
I'm not hoping for that.
Didn't do that. But it agrees with me. That was
Goodbye.
That was God. He said,
I
yeah.
don't like this thing. This thing is like playing
It's
games.
a
How
yeah.
the
I'm gonna
hell?
need you to have a husband. Thank you.
Husband,
A
please.
husband.
I will. From our two worst dating stories, guys, make sure that you take this information very seriously. There were both terrible stories, okay? So, like, nothing that we did should be done by any. We do not condone this behavior or activity. We were stupid. I can say it. I was stupid.
Sometimes you get caught off guard. Sometimes emotions do make you blind, but don't make it lead you to actually being with
Yeah.
the person for long term.
I will say you did good because you left, and he really did bamboozle you, though. I was dumb.
Bamboozled, like fuck.
I was stupid. I knew this information and stayed. Be okay. This is. I feel like every podcast, like we're like, be like Brianna, not like A'Nae.
Stop.
And I mean this. No, I mean this to a T. Be Brianna and not me in this story. Do not do what I did. Brianna left. Brianna could have like
But
she
you left
came.
eventually.
Don't. Brianna's that best friend that's literally gonna be like, you're always right. Like, I
Literally.
know. She said you left eventually. No, girl. I didn't leave quick enough.
If you were
I
to
should
say
have
you were
left 10
done with
times
that man
quicker.
today, I'd have been like, break up right now.
Girl,
And I'm gonna watch you break up with him.
I would FaceTime him and break up if we were still together. That would not have lasted,
Exactly.
girl. That would
Exactly.
have. No. I'm proud of myself for breaking up with him without anyone's help. That's what I'm proud of.
That's yes, that's what I was
I'll
gonna
say
say.
that. Because I didn't have nobody telling me break up with him.
Yeah. You did
And
that
I'm
on
proud
your
of
own
myself.
accord.
I realized my little googly eyes were up there and they said, look and see.
They said, I'm gonna need you to open
So
your eyes real quick.
that's what I'm proud of. And I never did that. I never did anything like that again, guys. Like, thank God I never made such a stupid decision ever again.
Proud of you. She's growing up before my eyes, y'all.
She is.
I love it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Maturity.
But yeah, that was a great story time.
That is our terror stories from our worst relationships and our worst dating experiences. We will eventually get into our worst hookups. That
We're gonna have to censor that one real
that's
bad.
gonna be censored. That one's gonna be torturous because I know, yeah.
I have a
I am
couple.
about to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna choke.
I'm
Right.
sure. I'm sure. I can't wait.
Anyways, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Um, Follow us if you haven't followed us already on all of our platforms, Instagram, YouTube, and
Spotify.
TikTok and
We don't have
Spotify.
a TikTok yet. But we will get one soon. Don't
TikTok
worry.
loading. Keep
TikTok
looking.
loading. So our Instagram is full disclosure XAB. Um, and our Spotify is just full disclosure. And then same with YouTube, full disclosure XAB.
All right, we will see you on the platforms and catch us next week for another episode. Toodles.
Yes. Bye.